Assalamu alaikum students, and welcome back to new session. In today's session we are going to discuss about major crops in India. As in the previous video we have seen different types of farming in India and different cropping pattern in India, and further today we are going to discuss about major crops. Of course, so many different types of crops are grown in India, so many. But here we are going to discuss about those are major, those are the most important, and the crops which are taken widely over the regions, different regions. So let's talk about major crops. So here crops are actually divided into food crops and non-food crops. So first category of food crops. So in food also there are two divisions. First, food crops, those are cereals, grains, and food crops, but which are other than grains, right? So like rice, wheat, pulses, maize, etc. are food crops, and those are cereal crops, grains. Other like tea or coffee, we also count them as food crops. Sugarcane, food crops, right? But those are not grains, so to them also we count food crops other than grains. Alright, and then after non-food crops. So non-food crops we do not utilize for food. Those are non-food crops, but those crops are important to feeding various industries. Alright, so let's talk about rice first. Rice is a major staple food crops of majority people in India, and rice we have seen is kharif crop. This crop required higher temperature and high humidity, and it also requires that high rainfall. The areas of high rainfall, of course, easy to grow rice crop, paddy crop, but areas of lesser rainfall like Punjab, Haryana, Western Uttar Pradesh, some part of Rajasthan as well. So this type of area they grow rice, and they utilize that irrigation method. Rice, it required a temperature about 25 degrees Celsius and more than 100 centimeter of average annual rainfall. So those are characteristics of rice. In detail, we have earlier already discussed in the previous video. So in this video, I am going to take the brief description about different types of crop. Second, wheat. After rice, wheat is second important staple crop for most of the people in India. So requirement of it. It requires cool growing season along with bright sunshine. And at the time of ripening, bright sunshine is required. 50 to 70 centimeter annual rainfall ideal for growing wheat. And major important wheat growing regions in the country are Ganga Satluj plains, northwestern part of India, as well as black soil region of Deccan Plateau. Those are the most important regions. About different crops, their requirement, climatic requirement, as well as type of soil, major producing areas, etc. I will provide you in notes, and of course I will forward to your group as well, right? A special PDF or will be attached with the notes, so it will be easier for you to remember and to distinguish different cropping requirement. All right. Now next, millets. Millets are also called coarse grain because those are rough, those are cheaper. Those are actually tasteless, not tasteless, but means not so great taste like other crops, other grains. But although they are coarse grain, they have high nutritional value like jowar, bajra, ragi, arhar. We have seen like multigrain bread, multigrain biscuits. Those multigrain food contains mainly those coarse grains, because we do not like to eat this, right? But we need nutrition, so indirectly we obtain nutrition from it. Alright, so rather than just eating simple bread of it, we prefer multigrain bread which contain those different grains, coarse grains. Alright, so let's talk about main coarse grain here, jowar, sorghum, also known as sorghum. It is rich in potassium, phosphorus and calcium with small amount of iron and sodium. As I said, those coarse grain are actually sources of various nutritional values. It is third most important crop in India after rice and wheat, and it is rain-fed crops mostly grown in the moist areas which do not need much irrigation. So can be survive on the monsoon rainfall. That is advantage of jowar. Second after jowar, bajra, also known as pearl millet. It contains iron, folate, magnesium, copper, zinc, calcium and various vitamins. Bajra grows well on sandy soil and shallow black soil. After bajra, ragi, also known as finger millet. It is rich in iron, calcium, and ragi grows well in dry regions on red, black, sandy, loamy, and shallow black soil. And these types of crops require lesser amount of water, so easy to grow even in the dry region. So, like in some part of Rajasthan, Himachal and other Himalayan region where there is less rainfall, Jammu and Kashmir, Ladakh and some part of Ladakh and Himachal Pradesh, people grow bajra, ragi, right? Easy for them. Next, apart from millet, those are three important millet crops in India. Now next, maize. This crop use both for food as well as for fodder, for feeding animals. It is kharif crop, although in some area like Bihar it takes as rabi crop. But this maize grows well in all alluvial soil, that is the most suitable for maize. Pulses. India is the largest producer of pulses and at the same time the largest consumer of pulses. And many people in India, those are vegetarians, those who do not eat non-veg food. So for them, pulses are the most ideal because pulses are sources of protein. So here various minerals and pulses those people obtain from minerals, various minerals and proteins people obtain from pulses, those who do not eat meat. So pulses need less soil moisture and can survive even in dry conditions. So being a leguminous crop, pulses play a key role in crop rotation, except arhar, because they have ability to fix nitrogen and they restore soil fertility. I think about this leguminous crops and importance of pulses in cropping cycle you have learned in the biology. Major pulses that are grown in India are tuar, also called arhar, urad, moong, masoor, peas, grams or chickpeas. Those are mainly pulses crops in India. Those are main pulses crops. Apart from that, there are some other pulses crops as well. Now, food crops other than grains. Like earlier, I have discussed food crops, and in food crops, cereal crops, and second, food crops other than grains. So, sugarcane, as well as oil seeds and beverage crops. In beverage, tea and coffee. So sugarcane most important for sugar. We obtain sugar from sugarcane. So sugarcane is tropical as well as subtropical crop that require almost a year to grow. It can be grown on variety of soil, but it requires higher amount of water. Manual labor is required from sowing to the harvesting. For sowing sugarcane, manual labor is required as well as at the time of harvesting. Expert people are needed. Sugarcane mainly we utilize as raw material in sugar industry. Sugarcane juice is the different thing, that is side use of it, but mainly we utilize it for sugar industry. So sugarcane feeding sugar industry, as well as apart from sugar, gur, jaggery, khansari, molasses, those are also important, those factories. So those are various manufacturing industries which require sugarcane as their raw material. Next, oil seeds. Many varieties of oil seeds are grown on about 12% of crop area in India. The major oil seeds are groundnut, mustard, coconut, sesame, also called teal, soyabean, custard seeds, cotton seeds, linseed, and sunflower. The extracted oil of oilseed has various uses. Main use for cooking medium, as well as oil utilized as raw material in different industries like soap, cosmetic, and ointments. About groundnut. Groundnut is the major oilseed producer and is a kharif crop. Gujarat was the largest producer of groundnut, followed by Rajasthan and Tamil Nadu in 2015-16. In 2010-11 we have seen. While linseeds and mustards are rabi crops, groundnut is kharif, linseeds and mustards are rabi, as well as cotton seeds kharif. Sesame is kharif. But sesame can be kharif or can be rabi, because in northern India sesame is kharif crop and in southern India rabi crop. Custard is both rabi and kharif crop. Custard seeds. Now let's talk about beverage crops in India, tea and coffee. Tea is plantation type of crop. This beverage crop was introduced in India by British. This bush plant requires tropical or subtropical climate, but warm and moisture free, frost free. Throughout the year, along with deep and fertile, it requires well-drained soil, rich in humus and organic matter. Frequent showers evenly distributed over the year, necessary condition for growth of tender leaves, because we do not obtain fruit from tree but tender leaves. So of course showers required for it. And well-drained steepy slopes, which is the most ideal for growing tea. That's why, as you know, that tree generally grows on hills, hilly area. Even it's like Assam, as well as Sikkim, as well as West Bengal, some part of Himachal Pradesh, in southern India, Nilgiri hill regions. About major growing area, region, states, we have seen earlier, as well as we will discuss in the map session, and I will provide you as notes to remember in the best way. Tea is labor intensive industry. As you know that generally women take part in tea plucking work, right? They pluck the tender leaves and collect. They keep a basket on their back and collect those leaves. So this of course labor intensive work, so abundant, cheap and skilled labors are required. They pluck leaves and they process in the nearby area. And of course, nearby area is processing area in nearby region is also precondition. Otherwise, those tea leaves lose their quality. Major tea producing regions in India are Assam, hills of Darjeeling and Jalpaiguri, in West Bengal, Tamil Nadu and Kerala, Nilgiri Hills region, Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand and Meghalaya. Andhra Pradesh and Tripura are also important for growing tea. In 2008, India was third largest producer of tea after China, followed by Turkey. Now, second important beverage crop in India, which is coffee. In 2004, India produced 3.5% of the world's coffee production. Indian coffee is known in the world for its good quality, but not the best. If you remember, in the previous video, when I told you about one kind of amazing fact. Do you remember? Okay. If you have internet, I know if you are watching this video, so you have internet. So just search on Google, search on any search engine, the most expensive coffee or the most highest quality coffee in the world, most tastier coffee in the world. Search any of such kind of words, you will get some amazing result. It will be surprised to you. Different varieties of coffee available in the world, as I know because I am a coffee fan. So in India, Arabica variety as well as Robusta. So brought from Arabian region, from Yemen, produced in India. It is a great demand all over the world and cheaper compared to other. Its cultivation was introduced in India on Baba Bundel Hills in Karnataka, which is now also called, that entire area is called Kurg region. I think in English you learn about the Kurg region. So this Kurg region is well known, famous for coffee growing. Next food crop, that is horticulture. Horticulture includes like growing of fruits and vegetables. Important vegetables produces in India are like peas, cauliflower, onion, cabbage, tomato, brinjal and potato. Since vegetables usually require less time for growth, period is lesser. Those can be grown during the Z season. In many regions where irrigation facilities are available, farmers grow those types of crops in the Z in the summer season. So those are Z crops. So most of the fruits are in plantation crop. Producer both in the tropical as well as temperate fruits. India has a different climate, right? So different types of fruits we can grow. So we can have here fruits of like tropical fruits such as mango and other, as well as we also have subtropical fruits, as well as we have temperate fruits like apricot, peach, cherries, etc. Mango, orange, banana, pineapple, grape, lychee and guava, apple, pear, apricot, walnut, those are important fruit. Again about those fruits too, we will discuss, I will provide you different fruit growing regions in the dedicated form. Alright. Apart from food crops, there are some non-food crops like rubber. Rubber is mainly equatorial crops, and important here, those non-food crops are important for feeding different industries. But here rubber is equatorial crops, but can be grown in the under special condition. It can be grown in the tropical area. Equatorial crops, it requires that higher amount of rainfall, but due to available facilities, irrigation facilities, it can be grown tropical area. So South Indian region, of course, well known for rubber growing area. In 2012-13, India ranked 4th among the world's natural rubber producers. After rubber, there are fiber crops. Mainly, there are three fiber crops: cotton, jute, and silk. Cotton and jute. Of course, cotton we obtain from the cotton crops, jute that from plants. So those we obtain from plants, while silk we obtain from the cocoons of silkworms, and those actually we fed on the green leaves, especially on mulberry. So this type of growing and obtaining silk occupation is called sericulture. Cotton. India is believed to be original home of cotton. It is one of the major raw materials for the cotton textile industry. Cotton growth is good in the drier parts of black cotton soil of Deccan Plateau and our region, that means Bharuch region, that is famous for growing cotton, Bharuch district. It requires higher temperature, light rainfall or irrigation, 210 frost-free days and bright sunshine for its growth. Otherwise, if rainfall or moisture may harm the cotton. It is kharif crop and it requires 6 to 8 months to moisture, and it can be harvested multiple times during these months. Jute is well known for its fiber, jute fiber, but nowadays it is less valued compared to before. But it is known as golden. It was known as golden fiber. Better to say that. The fiber is very strong due to its roughness. It is used to making gunny bags, mats, ropes, yarn, carpets, and other artifacts. Due to its higher cost, it is now losing its market to synthetic fiber and packing materials, particularly to the nylons. Right, as I said that it was, yeah, today also we can say the golden fiber, but earlier the most important, right, for those purposes, like to make granny bags. If you have seen earlier that those grains were sold in the jute bags, as well as like onions and some onions, potato and some other crops as well, right, for packaging purpose. More ropes of jute, those doormats, but nowadays those replaced by nylon and other synthetic fiber. So nowadays grains on the nylon bags, because those nylon and other synthetic fibers are comparatively cheaper. So here still government have taken some action for better for growing jute crop and for the jute industry as well. Alright, next video we'll discuss about technological and institutional reform and impact of globalization on agriculture. So stay tuned for this. Thank you so much. And after revision, I'll provide you notes of this chapter and some practice question answers to be note down in your regular note. So stay tuned.